What's up everyone, the Mandalorian here from the Hyperspace Database, the show that highlights the rare history and trivia behind Star Wars ships, alien species, technology, and more. Today's topic, the X-wing Starfighter. The X-wing Starfighter was developed by members of the Incom Corporation and was one of the most iconic ships of the Rebel Alliance fleet, as well as one of its most versatile. The X-wing Starfighter was the jack-of-all-trades starfighter for the Rebel Alliance, and served in many different roles throughout its lifetime of service. The ship is named after the shape of the S-foils when they're in attack position, though the craft was able to maintain a greater speed when the S-foils were closed, though this limited the firing capability of the craft when in this position. The X-wing was guided in battle by an R-series astromech unit, which assisted with ship functions, navigation, and maintenance. The most popular R2 unit you are probably already familiar with, because there is no R2 quite like R2-D2. The X-wing served the Alliance well as a multi-role starfighter, and the controls were easy to learn, much like the T-16 Skyhopper that was also made by Incom. This fact made it easy for the Rebel Alliance to train new pilots without worrying about risking damage to the limited X-wings that they had. Speaking of the Incom Corporation, you might recognize some of the other craft that they've produced. We've already mentioned the T-16 Skyhopper, but they also made the T-47 Airspeeder, or Snowspeeder as we call it, the Z-95 Headhunter, which was a favorite of bounty hunters and smugglers as well as being seen in the Clone Wars, as well as the ARC-170 Starfighter that was very popular in the Clone Wars. There were several versions of the X-wing Starfighter that saw production, such as the T-65B that we know from the original trilogy, the T-70, including Poe Dameron's personal T-70, which was named the Black One, which was in The Force Awakens, and the T-85 from The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. There are also some really cool variants from the Legends continuity, some of which include a two-seat variant, which was called the Tandem X-wing, the XJ5 Chase X, and the XJ3 Stealth X, which was a special spy unit for reconnaissance and stealth missions. There is also an unusual variant called the X-83 Twintail Starfighter, which was used by Cade Skywalker more than 100 years after the destruction of the first Death Star at Yavin, and was featured in the Legacy comic book series by Dark Horse Comics. Because of the popularity of the X-wing Starfighter, it has been featured in nearly every Star Wars project, from movies and TV shows to toys and video games, novels and comic books, and much more. It is most notably featured in the live-action original trilogy and sequel trilogy, as well as having notable appearances in the standalone movie Rogue One. It is also the main ship featured in the Rogue Squadron video games, as the Rogues mainly fly X-wings in most of their missions, and most of the in-universe fame of the ship is due in no small part to them and their skilled pilots. The X-wing was incredibly well-rounded, being fast, moderately armed, and shielded, as well as having hyperdrive capabilities. It was originally intended to be the backbone of the Imperial Navy, but interestingly, the entire design team of the X-wing jumped ship and took the design with them, forcing the Empire to develop other ships to make up for this devastating loss. The X-wing saw widespread use for many years after its initial development, being involved in the Galactic Civil War against the Empire, the fight against the First Order and the forces of the Reborn Emperor, and to fight the Yuuzhan Vong when they invaded the galaxy, with some of the craft being seen as late as 130 years after the Battle of Yavin. The X-wing Starfighter was the pride and joy of the Rebel Alliance fleet, and proved its value time and time again in the many battles against injustice and tyranny across the galaxy. And that nearly wraps up this episode, but stick around to the end for some secret trivia. Did you like it? Be sure to check out my other videos as well, hit those like and subscribe buttons, and the bell to be notified every time I publish a new video. Be sure to select all notifications, and you can follow the show on social media for more news and channel updates. Be sure to hit me up in the comments too, I'd love to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you next time.